Have you ever met someone whose energy just pulls you in? Someone whose laughter feels like music? For Israel Admi, a tall, kind civil engineer living a quiet life in Lagos, that person was Zainab. He was hardworking, a bit of a loner, still nursing the wounds of a past heartbreak while his mother fervently prayed for him to find a good wife. Then, one fateful day at a friend's birthday party in Lakey, everything changed. Across the room he saw her, Zainab. She was stunning, bold, and radiated a confidence that filled the entire space. Her laughter was infectious, and Israel found himself completely captivated. He was drawn to her like a moth to a flame. As he approached, she looked him over with a playful smile and said, "You look like someone who apologizes a lot." He didn't know it then, but that single, sharp observation was the first line in a love story that would push his peace, his patience, and his very sense of self to the absolute limit. It didn't take long for them to become inseparable. Within weeks, Israel was completely smitten. He found joy in taking care of her, fixing things around her apartment, surprising her with thoughtful gifts. He was convinced she was the one. His heart was so full, he knew he couldn't wait any longer. He planned the perfect proposal at a romantic restaurant with soft music setting the mood. As he got down on one knee, holding out the ring, the world seemed to stop. "Zainab," he said, his voice thick with emotion, "will you marry me?" The restaurant held its breath. Zainab beamed, her smile as radiant as ever. "Before I say yes," she began, her voice clear and steady, "we need to agree on some conditions." A ripple of confused laughter went through the nearby tables. She then pulled out a folded piece of paper and began to read a list of 10 rules. No female friends. No surprise visits from your family. No coming home late. No financial struggles, ... The list went on. The initial light-hearted laughter from other diners turned into awkward silence. Israel, kneeling on the floor, felt a hot flush of embarrassment creep up his neck. He was caught completely off guard. But he was so in love, so desperate for her, yes, that he found himself nodding along. "I agree," he mumbled, just wanting the moment to be over. That night, as she finally said yes and slipped the ring on her finger, Israel didn't realize he hadn't just gotten engaged. He had just signed a contract, one that would slowly begin to suffocate him. Zainab's reason for moving in with Israel was simple and seemed practical: to plan the wedding together, but it quickly became clear that she was planning more than just a wedding. She was redesigning his entire life. The first thing to go were his old, comfortable curtains, replaced by something she preferred. Then came the new house rules. No male visitors were allowed when she wasn't home. Soon, they weren't welcome even when she was there. His social life, once quiet but his own, began to shrink. His friends, who used to drop by for games or a chat, stopped visiting. The casual, easygoing atmosphere of his home was replaced by a tense, supervised environment. It wasn't just his personal life. The control seeped into his professional world too. His boss started to notice the constant, disruptive phone calls from Zainab during work hours, questioning who he was with, what he was doing. Israel's once easy smile started to fade, replaced by a permanent look of quiet exhaustion. He felt like a stranger in his own home, a guest in his own life. Each week brought a new set of laws, a fresh list of complaints, and a further erosion of his inner peace. Whenever he tried to gently push back to explain how he was feeling, her response was always the same, cold and final: "You can either be monitored or you can be mourned." Your choice. He was trapped. The breaking point, as it often does, came from something small. One evening, Zainab was scrolling through social media and saw a photo from a work event. In the background, barely visible, was Israel, smiling in a group picture that included a female colleague. That's all it took. An inferno of accusations erupted. She screamed, packed a bag with dramatic flair, and stormed out of the house, leaving a stunned silence in her wake. For the first time in months, Israel was alone, and an amazing thing happened. Peace returned. The quiet in his home was no longer tense, it was calm. He could breathe, he could think, he could just be asterisk. That week of solitude was a balm to his weary soul. He rediscovered the simple joy of his own company. Then, exactly 1 week later, she returned. But she didn't come back with apologies or affection. She came back with fury. You didn't even beg me to come back, she accused, her eyes blazing. The argument that followed was the worst yet. The shouting escalated until, in a moment of pure rage, she slapped him hard across the face. The sting on his cheek was nothing compared to the shattering sound he felt inside. Something fundamental within him broke. Without a word, he walked past her, out the door, and left, carrying his pain like heavy luggage. Left alone in the house, Zainab's anger finally dissolved, replaced by a flood of tears and a crushing realization. She saw her reflection in the mirror and didn't recognize the person staring back. Her deep-seated fear of being abandoned, of not being enough, had twisted her love into a desperate need for control. It had become a cage not just for Israel but for herself. She frantically called him, begging him to come back, promising things would be different. When they finally met, Israel's voice was quiet but firm. "Control is just fear wearing love's clothes, Zainab. It isn't love." For the first time, she truly heard him. She saw the pain she had caused and understood that her actions had pushed away the very person she was terrified of losing. Humbly, she promised to change, not just for him, but for herself. She started going to therapy to understand her fears. It was a slow, difficult process, but she was determined to learn what it meant to love with trust instead of fear. Seeing her genuine effort, Israel found it in his heart to forgive her. Cautiously, they began again, building a new foundation. This time, without rules, without contracts, only with a shared commitment to peace. Their wedding was a small, intimate affair, a stark contrast to the grand, controlled event Zainab had once envisioned. The atmosphere was filled not with tension, but with a gentle, joyful peace. When it was time for the vows, Zainab's voice was soft, but her words were powerful. Tears streamed down her face as she looked at Israel. "I used to think that love meant control, that it was about holding on so tightly you couldn't lose someone. Now I know," she paused, taking a breath. "I know real love is about trust. It's about letting go." When it was his turn, Israel smiled, a genuine, happy smile that had been missing for so long. "Then let's build our life together," he replied, "with laughter and trust, not with rules and fear." As they sealed their new beginning with a kiss, the applause from their friends and family was a celebration of more than just a marriage. It was a celebration of healing, of forgiveness, and of a profound lesson learned. Love without peace is a prison. True freedom is found in trust. Thank you so much for watching our story today. If it resonated with you, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more content like this. We'll see you in the next one.